fighting the T-Rex and you can't seem to win. How do we defeat the T-Rex? Well, let me show you. Because the T-Rex on Jurassic Park, Day East, is pretty simple. Okay? I'm going to go through a couple things with you, show you a few things, explain a couple things, where you understand how this thing works. Okay? So, let me give a quick rundown before I get into all the actual components. But let me show you how it actually works. Okay? I will flip my playfield up in a little bit. We'll go through all the details, but right now I just want to give you a quick explanation. Okay? When your T-Rex moves left and right, okay, it is triggered by Q24. Q24 powers the actual motor. Okay? It's going to run to the right. There's going to be a relay that's triggered by Q27. When Q27 fires, Q24 will also fire. It's going to reverse the polarity, and it's going to move to the left. Okay? So Q27 is firing the relay. Q24 is making the actual movement. Okay? You also have a couple other issues that could be happening. The issues could be, let's say you got some grinding noise. Let's say your T-Rex is just running really slow. Okay? Not moving, making a lot of racket, whatever. First thing you're going to need to do, remove all this if you're having that issue. There's screws up underneath here. It's going to drop that gearbox down. Okay? I will show you in a little bit more detail what to do with that. But if you're having a gearbox issue and you hear the gears grinding, running slow, that's what you're going to need to do. So let's get into fighting the T-Rex and trying to win. Alright? I will be right back and we'll show you underneath the playfield. Now that the playfield's up, let's see what's going on. Alright? First of all, I'm going to go into showing about the whole left and right issue. Let's zoom in. Alright? You see, there's a relay right there. There's also a relay right there. Well, what's different about this relay? I removed the cover of the relay. Well, why did I do that, you ask? Well, because there was a wire broke in there. So therefore, my T-Rex would only move to the right. Okay? When C27 fired, or Q27, sorry. When Q27 fired, okay, it would trigger the relay, but the relay was not being triggered. Why? Because I had a broke wire inside the relay. So I ended up having to resolder it inside the relay. Okay? That was kind of a pain, but I was able to pull it off. So if you're pretty good at soldering, should be pretty easy to do. If you're not, you're going to work at it a little bit. If you can't get it, you might be able to, you might have to buy the new board. I doubt it. It can be fixed. It can. Everything can be fixed if you just work at it. So, yeah. So if you just resolder the wire that came off inside that goes into it, I think the wire was part of the coil itself. Let's see if I can get it. Where? I lost the coil. Oh, man. There it is. Okay, let me zoom in. That's what's going on inside of there. But anyway, like I said, what happened is that the wire going to this little coil right here that's inside there actually broke loose. So I just resoldered that wire. Boom, relay was working again. And my T-Rex will now go to the left. Pretty simple. And let me explain one more time. Q24 fires, moves the T-Rex. Q27 fires, reverses the polarity of the motor down here. Where's the motor? Oh, there we are. So Q27 fires, reverses the polarity. Q24 brings the power to the motor through the relay and reverses the polarity, moves in the opposite direction. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. Okay? So now let's go to a different problem. You're hearing grinding noise. Your T-Rex is moving real slow. Being noisy. Well, the biggest problem is that this little bitty motor is having problems turning the gearbox because your gearbox is full of grease that has now become old. It is now all sticky, corroded. It just does not, and it has become just this blob of goo. Okay? And it's causing the gears to be really hard to move. It is a very simple fix to do. You don't need a new gearbox. I've seen people literally break apart this gearbox to clean inside of there. You don't need to do that. It's not that difficult. All you need to do, again, as I explained a little earlier, you need to remove all the plastics from above here. Okay, pull. This will start dropping all this down. Okay, remove this gearbox. Remove this motor. Okay, take these two screws out of the motor. Pull the gearbox out. Once the gearbox is out, take that gearbox outside. You're going to have a little hole where this motor was stabbed. This motor right here is going to have a little hole where that gear is touching the other gears inside. Get you some carburetor cleaner. Yes, I said carburetor cleaner. Get you some carburetor cleaner. Spray that carburetor cleaner all up inside that gearbox. All up inside of there. Wash out all that old grease. All that old gumped up, sticky, old grease that just turned to just nasty mud. That's what happens, you know. Grease is oil based. After time, it starts breaking down. It has no longer become grease. It's more of a glue almost at this point, a gunky, Play-Doh-y type of goo, and it's binding everything up in there. Get carburetor cleaner, wash it out. Turn that gear, because you're going to be able to turn it from the other side. And turn that gear around, get all of it out. Get all of it out. Then when you come back with and put new grease in it. The grease I use right here, Super Lube. Right here, Super Lube. That's the stuff I use. All you need is a small little Q-tip. Small little Q-tip's worth of grease. Stab it right in there. Wipe that grease on that gear. You'll see a little gear in there. Wipe that grease on that gear. From the other side, spin it around. Make sure that grease gets all up in those gears. Put the motor back on. Put it all back together. You're not going to have any problems. I've done that. This machine's been running for a couple years already. No issues at all. Okay? Just simple carburetor cleaner will dissolve all that old grease inside of there. So it's a little pain to get all this apart. You do have to take the subway off. You do got the screws from the top. You got a lot of stuff to take off. You may have to remove some micro switches even. I don't remember if I did or not. But either way, you're going to have to. All right, next issue. The easiest issue and also the most pain to fix is getting it to line up properly. After time, these micro switches right here will bend and not line up perfectly. Specifically, this center one, man, pain in the butt. Okay, Because if it's not right on the spot, it will not drop into that hole. You won't pick up your ball, and you will have issues there. So you may have to bend this one out just a hair, just so whenever it triggers, whenever this little thing here triggers and runs across, it will trigger that. Okay. Simple as that. I actually ended up having to put a little tape around mine. I don't know if you can see that or not. Okay. I ended up having to put a little tape around mine to help mine trigger in the right spot. I was going to replace that with maybe a little rubber, but it's been working, so I haven't touched it. Okay, because I could never get this micro switch right here, the center micro switch, to trigger in the correct spot. Wouldn't push it down all the way. If I bent it, it would not. No matter what I did, I just could not get it. So I got frustrated, put a little tape around it. It's been working since. So do what you got to do sometimes, right? But yeah, again, normally all you have to do is bend that micro switch. Mine's out of alignment for some reason, and I cannot get it in there. So I ended up putting this tape on it. Man, it works great now. So, but those are your typical issues. You know, again, I'll run through it again. The micro switches, getting in the line, getting it to drop right into the center where the ball is. You got your relay up here. This relay right over here. That's the one that reverses it back and forth. So if you're going all the way to the right and it's not moving to the left for some reason, that is not firing. That could be Q27 not triggering the relay, or more likely the wire came loose in the relay. Again, this machine, the shaker motor really goes crazy on it. Breaks wires loose all the time. I've had to resolder all kind of connections in here just because it's just that crazy of shaking. You also got to go through, especially on Jurassic Park, that to make sure all these screws are nice and tight, because the shaking will make things come loose. So while you're underneath here, get your little screwdriver, run through all these little screws just to make sure everything's tight. You know, the big ones, you know, I just go through the flippers are good ones to test, or to tighten, because you know you got a lot of vibrations were there. All the solenoid connections, anything that hits a lot, may be loose. Go through, just double check. Okay. Now let's go look at the wiki. All right. So now we're looking at how the actual T-Rex motor works. If anybody wants to know, okay, you got your left and right. You got the power to the motor, and you got your little relays over here that fire to change the direction. So let's come and look at a better source. What are we looking at? We're looking at the Wiki. That's right. Okay, this is a great source. Definitely use it. And as I was stating before, right here, down at the bottom, Q25 drives the motor up and down. Okay, Q24 drives left and right motor. Q27, the bidirectional relay control. Okay, the voltage polarity going to the left and right motor. So when Q27 fires, it changes the direction using the relay to move the T-Rex in the opposite direction. Okay, so this fires the relay. This one actually fires the actual movement of the motor. So when that's fired, if it's just Q24, then it's moving right. If it's Q24 and Q27, it's moving left. Okay? If Q25 fires, that moves it up and down. Okay, simple as that. Not a whole lot of lot more there. Okay, but yeah, definitely take a look at the pin wiki. A lot of great information in there. Highly recommend it. You know, and again, there's the little schematics over here for it. Okay, useful. Pin wiki is way more useful because it breaks it down for you. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comment section. I'll answer what I can. And good luck.